Alright, so in the last video, we have already set up the entire environment on our MacBook for Flutter app development, right? And now we wish to run an app on all the different platforms and devices that are available, which is the major USP of Flutter, that you can run one code base, compile it, and run it for different apps and different devices and platforms, right? So before we do that, we need an app to run, right? So for that, what we can do is we can actually go to our development directory, and I've created over here a projects directory, right? So if you see there's a projects directory over here, I'll go to my projects directory and I will ask Flutter to create a sample app. So how do I do that? I do Flutter create and then let's say sample, or let's call it my new app, right? And now Flutter is going to create this app in this directory. I can do an ls-l and I see there's a my new app over here. I can change to that folder to be able to compile and run this app. Now the next step is to check what are the available run destinations right now. So for that I type flutter devices. This should show me a list of available devices which are basically run destinations for my app. So right now I have macOS, Mac designed for iPad and Chrome, that is web, and these are the device IDs: macOS, Mac designed for iPad and Chrome. And I don't see iPhone simulator over here. So what I'll first try to do is I'll first try to run this app on an iPhone simulator, and for that I need to open up a simulator. So I'll do open -a and simulator, right? So now this is going to start an iPhone simulator for me. It started iPhone 15, iOS 17.2 is the simulator. And if I want to change this, I can right click on this simulator icon in the dock and select a different device over here, right? Now I have an app, I have a simulator running. Let me just confirm if this simulator shows up in my list of devices, and I also need the device ID for that simulator to be able to run the app on it. So yeah, it shows up as iPhone 15 mobile and this is the device ID, right? Now I can go ahead and run my app. So I'm inside my new app folder and I type flutter run-d and I give the device ID. Now it's going to try to launch it on iPhone 15 and we have an error. So what's the error? So the error says that iOS 17.5 is not installed. So this we can actually solve by opening Xcode, right? And if you open Xcode, you can go to the platform. So how do you do that is Xcode settings and then you go to platforms and you see that iOS 17.5 is grayed out. If you close this and if you just go to the Xcode window, let's just try to open that. Yeah, here it is, right? And let's say you say open an existing project, and I'll try to open now my app over here. So I go to Flutter, I go to projects and I go to my new app and I need to open the iOS folder, right? So I go to iOS and then I click on open, right? So it's going to load this and it again says iOS 17.5 is not installed. I can get it from here. The only issue over here is that it's a large download and depending upon your internet speed it might get disconnected in between and then you need to restart all over again. It's around 7.34 gigabytes as we saw on the other screen, right? So what I'd recommend is that you go to Safari, right, and you search for Xcode downloads. So you'll find this website resources Xcode. You need to sign in with your Apple ID over here. If you've already signed in, it's probably going to detect that. And then you see over here they have provided Xcode 15, which is the current version. They have provided Xcode 16 beta, and they have provided some additional tools below. So over here you can get older versions of Xcode and other tools. So we need to click on this. Alright, so this gives us more downloads and we can search for iOS 17.5 over here, right? And here you get iOS 17.5. You can click on view details and you can download this as a DMG file, right? Okay, so once you download this as a DMG file, you should get it into your downloads folder, right? So I have already downloaded it and now you need to manually set this up, right? So how do you do that? So you can click on this link, installing additional simulator runtimes. So we click on this, right? And here it is. So we go down, scroll down, and here it is. So install it and manage simulator runtimes from the command line. So it says they're available on the Apple developer website. Then follow the steps in the terminal to install a simulator runtime. So we already did this last time. We did the xcode select command. We did the run first launch command. Now we need to install the simulator runtime. So let's just see if we can find the command for this. Install the simulator runtime run. This is xcode build and use the import platform option by specifying so and so. So here is the command. So you can use xcrun simctl runtime add, and this is the command. So I'll copy this command, and I'm going to go to my terminal window, and I'm going to paste this over here. But I need to change the DMG file name, and I do have it in my downloads directory. So I just go to my downloads directory. I press this and press enter and copy the name over here, and then I go over here and paste it over here, right? So now this is going to add this runtime. So let's see. So it says operation not permitted, requires security and privacy approval. Okay, so it seems that we need to transfer this file out to some other directory, and let me actually paste it over here and see if it works. All right, so I put it over here, and now I'm going to go back to the terminal. I'll try to run this command again, and instead of downloads, now the directory is in the development directory. The file is in the development directory. All right, so I think this should do it. All right, so it says now it has it's ready, right? And it's verifying the runtime, right? So let it do that, and what we'll do is as soon as this is verified, we are going to try to compile our app again using the flutter run command, right? Okay, so I'm just going to try and run this app again on the same simulator once again, and let's see, because now I do have iOS 17.5, right? And let's see if this is able to build without an error now. Okay, so it says running xcode build, compiling, linking, and signing the app. Xcode build done. That's great. All right, and it says syncing devices to file, and here you go. So this is our iPhone, and we have our app running over here. We can click the plus button as we generally do, and you can see the app on the iPhone home screen as well. So great, now we have our app running on the iPhone, right? And we can now go ahead with other devices as well. Now we want to run our app on an Android device. So first thing we do is we go to the terminal and type Flutter devices, right? And we are still in our app folder, my new app, and we check what devices are there. So there's macOS, Mac designed for iPad, Chrome web. So we don't see any Android device right now because we haven't started any simulator till now. So for that we can go to Android Studio. All right, so here's Android Studio, right? And now you click on the options over here and you click on virtual device manager. Now on the virtual device manager, you see that you will have some devices over here. Otherwise, you can click on this plus button and add a device. So you can select phone. Let's say we select Pixel 8. We click next, and then you can select one of the system images that we can have the Android API level and versions. So for example, upside down cake 34 is the latest one. I already have it downloaded, so it's not grayed out over here, and there's no download sign. Otherwise, you click on download and you can download that. Then you click next. You can give your device a name, Pixel 8 API 34. It's saying 2 because I already have one set up over here, and you can leave the remaining options as default and then click finish. I already have this device set up, so I'll just click cancel and instead select this particular device. Now to start it, I click this play or start button over here and it says launching emulator, and now you see that we have the Pixel device started up over here. So we go back to the terminal and we can type Flutter devices again. Now we expect to see an Android device over here with an ID. So here we go, SDK GPhone 66 ARM64 mobile, and the ID is this. Now what we'll do is we'll take this ID and we'll say Flutter run -d and specify this particular ID. When you run it for the first time, you might need to download Gradle distributions, which will happen in the background. So now this is already downloaded it, so it took very little time, and now it says it has built and it has installed the debug APK, which is the app file, onto the device. So it's installing, and now it should be now showing up on our emulator. So here we go. So we have this app. This is the same app that we compiled elsewhere. You can increment the counter, and you can actually click on this, and you can actually see that it just works as a normal app on a phone. You have all the information about the app over here and so on. So we see that we can run this on an Android simulator as well. Now to stop the Android simulator, you can go back over here and click on cross over here, and this is going to close the Android simulator, and your app is going to remain installed on this. So if you ever restart this Android simulator, like for example, if we go to Android Studio and we go to Virtual Device Manager and we start this up again, so you should technically see, so yeah, so it basically starts from the same place where it left off, and you should see your app over here again, still in the open state, right? All right, cool. So that's it for Android. Okay, so now let's try to run our app on Chrome. All right, so we do Flutter devices first, and this should give us the list of devices along with Chrome again. So yeah, there we have Chrome, right? And now we can run Flutter run -d Chrome, and we can additionally specify a port of our choice where we would like the app to be available, and on localhost, right? So if we do this now, Flutter is going to compile the app for web, and it's going to then make it available for debugging on localhost port 8081, right? So there you have it. There's the browser that's opened automatically. I'll just make it go full screen over here, and in a moment you should have the Flutter demo app over here, right? So this is the app, the sample app that Flutter creates is a counter app, as we saw earlier, and we can click the plus button to increment the counter. If we refresh it, there's no local storage or API through which you can get the counter value, so the counter value goes back to 0. Now let's also try the other devices that are available to us. So yeah, so if I just exited the app, right, and now again you can do Flutter devices, and you should have Mac OS, so we can run the same code pretty much on Mac OS. So I'll say Flutter run -d Mac OS. All right, let's see what this does. This should open up a Mac OS window for an app, right? And we should have the same app running on locally on our Mac now as a native Mac application, right? So let's wait for that to happen. Okay, so it has built the app, and there you go. This is now the Mac application, so you can actually release your application as a Mac application as well, right? And so this basically shows us that you have one single code base, and you can run it on all the available platforms and devices, right? So thanks a lot for watching, and a humble request to please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you found this helpful. We are yet to look at the code. We just looked at running the sample app on different platforms. So we'll start doing that from the next video onwards. And for now, at least, after doing all this, you have your environment set up. You have run an app on all the different platforms like Chrome. You have run it on Mac OS, you have run it on Android simulators and iPhone simulators. So we are pretty much very well set up now to start developing an app of our own without having to get stuck with issues related to running these apps on different platforms at a later stage. So now we can focus fully on developing our own app, and we'll start doing that from the next video onwards. Thanks a lot.